Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going. As I like to remind you each and every day, it expands our base. 100 days. And the Prime Minister of Canada has summed up his view very well after winning an election. Trump will never break us. And I think that's the key. It is not a war against America, but it is a response from American allies to Donald Trump. It has been 100 days of chaos, 100 days of disruption, 100 days of, frankly, something America could never have conceived of prior to the election. 100 days basically was the benchmark for Franklin Delano Roosevelt and the New Deal. We knew after 100 days of the Roosevelt administration that America had changed. It had changed for the good. And every president of the United States, following those 100 days of FDR, have gone through a 100-day evaluation. What have I learned in these 100 days? We have a president who does not believe in the Constitution. We have a president who is willing to take any action through executive order, not using the democratic process, quite the contrary. We now have a president who seems to be lawless, who does not seem to regard what the courts say as having any meaning. And we have a president who, because of tariffs, has disrupted the world's economy. Not only that, we have allies like Canada and Mexico, allies like Ukraine, who now look at us and wonder, what is America doing? Well, let's be clear about something. This is not the action of the United States of America. It is the action of a president of the United States, 100 days in office. And if I had suggested to you 100 days ago that we would find ourselves in this situation, frankly, some of you who are Trump supporters would have said to me, nonsense. Donald Trump is a sane, able, he'll be a great president of the United States. I still get emails from many of you who support Donald Trump who say that my criticism of Donald Trump is not based in fact. Let me explain to you that when the Prime Minister of Canada wins an election, which he was supposed to lose, by the way, and says that Donald Trump will never break us, do you understand the target is not the United States of America? The target is an analysis of where Donald Trump has taken the country. Who would have imagined that we would have a measles outbreak in this country and that the Secretary of Health and Human Services would still be in denial about the importance of vaccines? Oh, he paid lip service to the question of vaccines, but do you think he means it? I don't. We have a situation where we now have a president who is saying, drill, baby, drill. All the environmental protections that we once thought we had seem now to be on very shaky ground, if on any ground at all. And let me suggest to you, in the strongest possible terms, that we have a president who is exerting his powers as president in a way that no president has done before. I want to be crystal clear that when the Supreme Court finally rules on the question of the power of the president when it comes to executive orders, there are some who believe it will be a political process, that Trump will have a majority of the Supreme Court. I will now say something that many of you know I have said over the years, and which at least one critic of my commentary has now said is not true. I believe the American system will hold. I believe that in the end, a majority of the Supreme Court will say that a president cannot act the way Donald Trump is acting. I have to believe that, because otherwise, everything I've learned about American democracy, what it means to live in a republic, all of that would be shattered. So if you think that my commentary is based on a feeling that we must do everything we can in order to preserve the United States of America, you are right. When Joe Biden, in his last major speech to the American people as president, talked about the fact that we had to fight to preserve our democracy, he was right. Now, let me say a word about the role of America in the world. We know that Donald Trump, if he had his way, would do away with NATO, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. I would remind you that the founder of NATO was bipartisan, Harry Truman and Dwight D. Eisenhower. He has done away with the idea of the United States as a nation which supports free trade, something advocated by Democrats and Republicans and exemplified by the Republican Party of Ronald Reagan, a party which I regret to say no longer exists. We saw the United States of America pledge to stand by Ukraine, and we now have a president who is talking about selling Ukraine down the river, letting Russia have Crimea. It is something so unthinkable that, well, the fact that it's happening is astounding. I have learned something through all of this. I want our country to be strong and secure and safe. I want us to have borders with our neighbors that are supportive of what the United States of America does. This is something that we must all understand and take with us, that we really are in a battle after 100 days. And let me be clear, when the Prime Minister of Canada says Trump will not break us, I want you to know that applies equally to those of us who give commentary politically. I will not be broken, even though every day I feel another body blow being thrown my direction, because I have to believe that the United States of America is stronger than the negative tendencies, and yes, the authoritarian tendencies of one man. The struggle for American democracy continues, and our situation today, 100 days into the Trump administration, makes this battle even more imperative. Oh yes, I want you to let people know what we're saying. I want you to spread the word about this podcast, and I want you to listen to other podcasts and other news organizations who understand all of this very clearly. There will be a day of reckoning, whether it is in the courts or in the ballot box. And the American people, I believe, will ultimately stand and say no to what Donald Trump is doing. Well, that's it for today. 100 days in, I can't wait for the next 100 days. One thing's for sure. Somebody said to me, John, how do you decide what to talk about each morning? All I have to do is listen to what Donald Trump has said. But rather than being reactive, I would rather be affirmative, supporting actions which make a difference not only for America, but for the world. And so, to the Canadian Prime Minister, thank you. I can assure you I stand with you. Trump will not break me, will not break us. I believe that with all my heart. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which is, as I keep pointing out, our goal. I want to say that you can interact with me, as many of you do, on LinkedIn, on Facebook. Some email me directly. Some even call me on the phone. All of those calls are welcome. And indeed, the interaction that we have together is what makes this podcast so special. And to Gogo Zoger, who makes sure every day that this podcast is up and running, hey, Gogo, thanks a million. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I am John Rothman, and you are listening to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I'll be back tomorrow. Bye.